Awesome. I will go ahead and share my screen with y'all. Hope everyone's having a good Thursday so far. I'm really liking the more sunny weather here in Pittsburgh. Um, I'm originally from Georgia and I'm just not a fan of the no sunlight. So it's been nice. All right. With that being said, happy Thursday and welcome to week 3 for Happy Feet program. This week we are focusing on resistance training for strength, part 2. So today we'll be doing some fewer exercises than we did last week. Be doing about 5, but we're going to be doing 3 sets and 10 repetitions. So some more sets this week. Just a couple reminders. I'll always have the slide and go over this before our sessions. As always, safety is our #1 priority. It's super important that you guys communicate over the virtual classes because it's hard to see and make sure everyone's doing the right thing. And especially if you don't have your camera on, if you have questions, please let myself or Navreen know. Also be mindful of any side effects and give yourself some grace, whether you're on treatment or in the middle of treatment or done with treatment. You may or may not be still feeling some side effects from your cancer. So it's super important to also take breaks often. Try a modified version. Make sure we're staying hydrated when we say to take a water break. Make sure we actually grab some water, drink some water, and do what makes you feel good. Especially making sure we're mindful of our side effects. And we want exercise to be used as medicine and to make us feel better, make us feel a little bit more lively instead of making us feel sore and tired. And then also another reminder, if you have not emailed Kara the functional assessment information and you chose to do that on your own, just make sure you email her as well. Quick little technique refresh, focusing on our breathing. Breathing super important during resistance training, especially because a lot of people tend to hold their breath. You want to make sure you're breathing through the movements. So like I like to say, I like to exhale on the hardest part on the exercise and inhale on the easiest part. So if you look at picture A, I'm doing a bicep curl. So when I'm exhaling, that's when my arms are coming up towards my shoulders. And then I'm inhaling when I'm bringing my arms back down towards my thighs. Then you can look at B with our single leg press. We're going to exhale as we extend our leg out straight. Inhale as we bring our knee back to our chest. And finally, with our seated RDLs, which we will be doing today, you're going to inhale as you hinge at your hips, bringing your chest to your thighs, and then exhale as you squeeze your glutes and return back to center in our perfect posture. And then just going over some self-progression refresher. This is another slide I will go over every single time because self-progression is a super important concept if you want to see progress. So if you look at the right side of the screen, we have that self-progression chart where we're looking at our RPE, also known as our rate of perceived exertion, which is how hard an exercise may feel to you. So for wanting to see some progress or increase our strength, on our first week of our program, we may be at about 20 pounds for a bicep curl, and we're staying within those 10 reps. And our RPE is going to be pretty high because it's our first week of our program. Maybe we've never done that exercise before and our body's not used to it. Second week, we're still staying at the same weight and same reps, but our RPE is a little bit lower since our body and our muscles are used to doing the exercise from the week before. And then that third week, very similar situation, keeping the same weight, same reps, but our RPE may even drop a little bit more, just because your body may be getting used to the weight, and your muscles are growing, which is what we want to see too. So that's why in our fourth week, we're going to increase the weight, keep the reps the same, and of course our RPE is going to go up because we're using more weight than we're used to. And then if we look at the left side of the screen, just some things to keep in mind if you're doing some resistance training on your own. We want to sandwich upper body and lower body exercises. So we want to do upper, lower, or lower, upper, lower, upper. We don't want to do 2 upper body exercises or 2 lower body exercises in a row. Very similar to our second point of not resistance training multiple days in a row. We want to make sure our muscles can recover in between our exercises and in between our days of resistance training because your body could be fighting off other things as well. And then also making sure we're doing proper warm-up and stretching at the ends. It's important to do warm-up to make sure that we are resistance training correctly and safely. And then it's important to do stretches at the end to help elongate those muscles and maybe relieve some future soreness. And then, of course, using the RPE scale, which is that 1 to 10 scale, where 1 is you're lying on the couch, very easy, you're not exerting your body at all. And 10 is you are running from a bear, the hardest thing you've ever done in your life. That's super important also when we're using self-progression. Our final and last point, we want to make sure when our RPE decreases, it's time to increase the weight and maintain the repetitions, which is basically just a summary of that chart on the right side of the screen. Does anyone have any questions so far? Awesome. And with that, it is time to exercise. So I will go ahead, stop my screen sharing. Make you guys nice and big so I can see everyone. And we'll get started with our warm-up exercises. All right. Our first warm-up exercise is going to be our calf raises. Also, I'm dog sitting, so if you see any dogs in the background, that's why, okay? All right. I got my chair for support. Our calf raises that are standing are just going to be going up to our toes, squeezing our calves, and then slowly lowering back down to the ground. So we go up on our toes, squeeze, and slowly lower our heels back down. If you'd like to do this exercise seated, very, very similar setup. We're just moved to the edge of the chair. Hands are on our hips, across our chest, or just by our sides, whatever feels best. And we're just going up onto those toes and squeezing those calves and slowly coming back down. All right, we're going to do 2 sets of 10 repetitions. And I will be starting my first set right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, and last one, 10. Awesome. You can shake out your legs a little if you want. Sometimes when I'm doing these too, I like to exhale as I'm squeezing my calves. Sometimes that helps me engage my core a little bit more. Just a suggestion, you don't have to do it. If everyone's ready, we'll go ahead and start with our second set here. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 2 more, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. You can shake out your legs a little bit if you want. And then we're going to go into our toe raises. So just a reminder, our toe raises, we're going to be standing or seated as well, holding onto our chair. And we're just going to drive our toes to the ceiling, squeezing our shin muscles, slowly lowering back down. Squeezing, lifting our toes up, and slowly lowering back down. And our modification for this, very similarly, we're going to be seated. Legs are at 90 degrees, arms are wherever you would like them. And we're just bringing our toes up, lifting them off the ground, slowly lowering them back down. And we're going to do 2 sets of 10 repetitions here too. Getting started right now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome. My ankles always crack after that one. Great job. Grab some water if you need it. If not, we'll take another 10 or so seconds, and then we'll go ahead and get into our second set of our toe raises. Then we got 2 more warm-up exercises. All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. Whenever you guys are ready, you can follow along with me. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. Our next two exercises are going to be seated, so go ahead, take a seat if you are not seated already. All right, our next exercises are going to be our neck circles. So we're going to do 5 counterclockwise and 5 clockwise. So these are our neck circles, just nice and slow and big. If this is too difficult for you, we can just do some shake your head yes, and then shake your head no. I'm going to go ahead and start with my 10 neck circles, 5 clockwise, 5 counterclockwise. You guys can follow along at your own pace. All right, I'm switching directions, starting the 5, going clockwise now. Awesome. Once you've done those 10, go ahead and relax. You shake out your arms a little. Then we're going to go ahead and get into our second set whenever you guys are ready. Give it another 10 seconds or so. All right, starting with our second set of neck circles. You can follow along with me. We got 1, 2, 3. Making sure we're still breathing through these warm-up exercises. 4. And last one in this direction. 5. Go ahead and switch directions. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Awesome. Go ahead, stay seated. Our last warm-up exercise is going to be some shoulder rolls. We did these last week, so we're going to be seated. I'm going to scoot to the edge of my seat a little bit so my shoulders get my full range of motion. And we're going to shrug our shoulders up to our ears and then round them, squeezing our shoulder blades. So squeeze to our ears, round our shoulder blades. All right, if this is too difficult, you can do some wrist circles in either direction. So if we're doing wrist circles, we're going to do 5 in one direction, 5 in the other. For our shoulder rolls, we're going to do 10 going backwards, okay? I'm going to get started here. My shoulder rolls. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome. Shake out the arms a little bit. And now we're going to do 10 shoulder rolls going forward. And if you did wrist circles, we're just going to do 5 in one direction, 5 in the other direction again, okay? Here we go, going forward. 1, 2. This time we're rounding our shoulders forward. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome job, you guys. Let's go ahead and grab some water before we get started with our first exercise. I'll go ahead and begin to demonstrate the first exercise. Sorry, I'm just gonna move the dog off the camera. All right. Okay, first exercise is going to be our Romanian deadlifts or our RDLs. I will go ahead and demonstrate this exercise standing, and then I will go ahead and demonstrate the modified version, which will be seated. All right, so with our resistance band, we are going to loop it around our feet. So we're stepping on the resistance band. So you can see my feet. Our feet are going to be about hip distance apart. We're going to have a slight bend in our knees. And as we inhale, we're going to hinge at our hips, pushing our glutes behind us. We're going to feel a stretch in our hamstrings. That's when we're going to start to bend our knees. Our hands are going to get to about shin height, and then we're going to exhale, squeeze our glute. So once again, we're hinging at the hips, pushing our hips behind us, pretending there's a door behind us and we're trying to close it with our hips. Once we feel that stretch in our hamstrings, start to bend our knees, hands come to shin distance or shin height, and then we're going to exhale, squeeze our glutes. If this seems a little too difficult for you, we can do the same thing, but it's going to be seated. The setup is the exact same. We're going to loop the resistance band around the bottoms of our feet. We're going to step on them, scooch to the edge of our seat. Feet are about hip distance apart. Going to grab onto the center of that resistance band. As we hinge at the hips, we're inhaling, letting our hands come to about mid-shin, and then we exhale and squeeze through our glutes. The whole time we're keeping our shoulders rolled down and back and squeezing our shoulder blade with our eyes facing forward. Okay? I will go ahead and do the first set of exercise or of this RDL standing, and then I will do the second set seated. All right. If everyone's ready, we'll go ahead and get started. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome job. Go ahead, take a little bit of a break. Grab some water if you need to.
Adeline, there's a question in there about what type of which band to choose, and it says they all seem too tight to go up straight.
If they're too tight, you can go ahead and try the movement without a resistance band. See if that's more comfortable. You really just want to make sure you are feeling the stretch in your hamstrings, and then when you return back to standing, you're squeezing your glutes, and you should feel it whether you are using a resistance band or not. Great question, though. I like it a lot. All right, we'll go ahead and start with our second set. I'm going to do this one seated. And we'll go ahead and begin. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Awesome job. We have one more set of these. And this last one I'm going to do without a resistance band. So if anyone's not using a resistance band, you can kind of see how I would do it. We'll give ourselves another 5 to 10 seconds. All right, we'll go ahead and start with our last set of 10 repetitions. Since I'm not using resistance band, my feet are still going to be hip distance apart, my knees and my hips stacked. And this time I'm going to have my hands on my hips. And we'll start our last set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, last one, 10. Awesome job on those, everybody. Those are not always easy. Let's go ahead and grab some water, and Nareen is actually going to lead us through the next couple exercises.
Hello.
Do you see there's some issues with the non-latex bands. I don't know if you have any recommendations. We can talk about it later, but
Whoever asked that question, can you ask it again at the end and we can go over it? Awesome. Perfect.
Okay, so we're going to start with our next exercise. That one we will be doing it standing, and for that one you will be looping band around your hand, and you will be putting your hand on the other side of your chest. I'll show it more on the camera. And you will be grabbing the band from the other end and having your hand looped in, keeping your elbow closer to your body. You will be going down and squeezing your tricep muscles. If this is too difficult, you can also do it without band, or if you wanted something like in the middle, you can also put your hand, instead of putting it on your chest, you can put it on your arm. That way it'll be more easier. And you can keep your elbow closer to your body and go down, keeping the motion same. Perfect. Now we're gonna start with our first set. I'm gonna put my hand on my chest, keeping my elbow closer to my body, and I'll be going down. 1, as I'm going down, I'm gonna exhale, and when I'm coming up, I'm gonna inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, we're gonna shake our hands a little bit and then we'll do it on the other side. Okay, whenever everybody's ready, we're gonna start with our first wrap. 1, exhale and inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We're going to take a 5-second or 10-second break, and then we'll start with our second set. And if you also prefer doing this exercise seated, feel free to do it seated too. Okay, so we're going to start with our second set. Putting our band on our chest and grabbing it from the other end, and we'll be doing it. Exhale and inhale coming up. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. I'm going to do it on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We have one more set. Can go ahead and take some water break and then we'll do the last set. Okay, I'm ready for my third set. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. We're gonna do one more set on the other side, and that's going to be our last set for this exercise. Keeping our elbow closer to our body. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. Okay, we're gonna take a 5-second break and then we'll start with our next exercise. For that one, we will be sitting on the chair, so I'm gonna set myself up for the next exercise as I'm taking this break. Here we go. I'll be taking this chair. Okay, we're gonna do seated leg press. For that one, I'll be sitting all the way towards the end of the chair and my back will be rested on the chair. I will be grabbing this band and having it looped around my foot, midpoint of my foot. Keeping my elbows closer to my body and hands not moving, I'll be bringing my knee closer towards my chest. Like this. No hands movement, just legs movement. And if this is too difficult for you, we can also do the modification. You will have this band around your ankles. And for this one, sitting shoulder width apart, feet shoulder width apart, and kicking out. If the other one is too difficult. Okay. We're gonna start with our first set whenever everybody is ready. I'll do the first set as normal, and then I'll do the second set, the modification. Okay? Keeping my elbows closer to my body, and hands closer to my body, bringing my knee closer towards my chest, and as I'm pushing, I'll be exhaling. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We're gonna take some water and then we'll start with the other side. How's everybody doing so far? Perfect. Okay. We're gonna start with the other set on the other side. Making sure our elbows are closer to our body and hands not moving. Bringing your knee closer towards your chest and pushing. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We're gonna take a break for 5 or 10 seconds and then we'll start with our second set. And I'm gonna do the modified version this time. Okay, I'm gonna set myself up for the modified version. We're gonna start with the left side first. Whenever everybody's ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We're gonna take a 5-second break and then we'll start on the other side. Okay, I'm gonna start on the other side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We have another set. We can take a water break and then we'll start with our last set. Okay. I'm gonna set myself up for the third set. Okay. We're gonna start with the one side. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We have last set on the other side. Start it in 1 or 2 seconds. Okay. I'm going to start with the other set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. Let's grab some water before we start our next exercise.
How are we all doing? Can we get some thumbs up, hopefully? Awesome. Love it.
Okay. Our next exercise is also seated. We did this one last week too, so we're keeping that same one. And for that one, you will be sitting towards the edge of the chair this time, and you will be having your band looped around your foot, midpoint of your foot. And you will be holding it from the top, and you will be bringing the band towards your belly button. And exhale. Exhale and inhale. Perfect. And if this is difficult for you, you can also do it by having this band looped around your thighs, like we did last time. And you can hold the band from the top with palms down, and you can bring this band closer towards your armpits, but keeping your elbows closer to your body and shoulder rolled back. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and start with the other one. Perfect. Okay, I'm ready. One. Exhale and inhale. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. We're going to take a 1 or 2 seconds break, and then we'll do it on the other side of our body. And if you're doing the modification, you can keep the band and you can do the second set. Okay. I'm ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. Okay. I'm gonna grab some water, and and we'll start with our second set.
Which muscle should we be feeling this?
I was about to respond to that. You should be feeling it more in your like upper to mid back. So when you're really squeezing your shoulder blades, you really want to be squeezing those muscles and feeling it like almost like pinching your back, if that makes sense. Okay, perfect.
Okay. We're gonna start with our second set, and I'll be doing the modification this time. Having my band around my thighs and sitting towards the edge of the chair, shoulder rolled back, holding the band with palms down from here and bringing the band towards my belly button. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. And take a 10-second break, and then we'll start with our last set. I'm gonna set myself up for third set. Okay. Whenever everybody's ready, shoulder roll back, grabbing the band from the front, bringing it towards your belly button. Exhale and inhale. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. If you're already having band looped around your knees, you can keep it. We're doing the next exercise also seated and with having the band around the thighs. So you can keep your band, but you can still relax by shaking your legs and making sure you're sitting towards the edge of the chair, shoulder rolled back. And if you prefer putting your hands on your hips, you can put your hands on your hips. And if you wanted to cross it around your body, you can also do that. Okay. So our next exercise is also the last exercise for tonight. And for that one, we're doing seated clamshells. I'm gonna make sure the camera is all the way down. Perfect. So for this one, making sure the feet are all together, knees are together before starting the exercise, and you will be going outward by keeping your feet together. It's okay if it lifts a little bit. And if this is too challenging for you, you can also do this exercise without the band. That would be the modification part of it for this exercise. Okay. Whenever everybody's ready, we're gonna start with our first set, making sure our feet are all together, knees together for the first initial position, and you'll be driving your knees outward. Exhale, inhale. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. Okay, we're gonna take a water break and then we will start with our second set. Okay. I'm gonna set myself up for my second set. Okay. Whenever everybody's ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. I'm going to remain seated on the same position, but feel free to grab some water before we start our third set. We'll start it in like 5 seconds. Everybody doing good so far? I can see everyone, but a little bit. Okay. So you're gonna start with the third set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. So this was our last exercise for today. Now Adeline will be taking us through cool down.
All right. Great job today, everybody. All give yourselves a round of applause or a silent pat on the back. Love it. 1 week is down. We're going to go ahead, start seated with our cross-body stretch. We're just going to start with our right or left arm, bring it across, and we're going to pull on that elbow. If this is a little too much for you or you have some shoulder issues, we can stretch out our wrist by either pulling your fingers towards you with your palm facing away or with your palm facing towards you. I'm going to hold this crossbody stretch for another 15 or so seconds. And during our stretching, just a reminder, making sure we're breathing in through our nose and exhaling out of our mouths. That's going to help lower our heart rate. It's going to help us relax during our stretching. And go ahead, shake out your arms and switch over to the other side. Same thing over here. Awesome. Go ahead and relax. We're going to do it one more time with that first arm. See if you can stretch that arm a little bit more. And release. Go ahead and switch to the other arm. Just ignore the dogs. And go ahead and relax. Awesome. I always like to do a couple shoulder rolls after that, maybe get the blood flowing. And then we're gonna go into our next stretch. This one's my favorite. I think we did this last week as well. Taking my left palm, bringing it to the right side of my head, and then either dropping my left ear to my shoulder or trying to drop my chin to my chest and smell my armpit. With every exhale here, try and let your head be pulled by gravity even more further towards the ground. And make sure we're pulling very gently on our heads. If this is too much too, you can also just let your head hang and let gravity pull it. And we'll go ahead and switch sides, slowly release. And then I'm taking that right hand to the other side, or my left side, bringing my right ear to my shoulder, or dropping my chin towards my chest, smelling my armpit. Once again, if this is too much, you can also just let your head hang, or you can do some big head nods where we look up at the ceiling and hold for a moment and look back down. I'm going to continue holding this on my right side for 10 or so more seconds. Every exhale, I'm still trying to relax my muscles even more. Let gravity pull my head towards the ground. And go ahead and release. Awesome job, you guys. All right, next one, we're gonna stretch our hamstrings and our glutes. I'm gonna move my screen so you guys can see me. All right, so I'm extending one leg out, planting my heel on the ground. My shoulders are rolled down and back, my posture's good. Stacking my hands on top of each other, and as I exhale, I'm reaching towards my toes, trying to keep my back as straight as possible. If this is too difficult for you, you can sit back in your chair with your back fully against the chair and just go ahead and give your knee a nice hug. Since I'm in this position, I'll just go ahead and hold this for another 10 or 15 seconds. In both stretches, you should feel it in your hamstrings, and in this one specifically, you should feel it in your glutes. And just a reminder, as we exhale, we're going to try and pull that knee closer to our chest. And go ahead and relax. We're going to switch legs. This time, I'm going to do our seated hamstring stretch. Stacking my hands, and we're going to exhale and reach for our toes. If you can't reach your toes, don't worry, I'm not even close, so don't beat yourself up about it. And as I'm doing this one too, every time I exhale, I'm reaching for my toes a little bit more, hoping to feel a little bit of a deeper stretch. And go ahead and release. Gonna do each side one more time. On this first side, I'm gonna do my hamstring stretch. So planting my toe, stacking my hands, and exhale, reaching for my toes. And go ahead and release. Last time on that opposite leg, since I started doing my knee hugs, I'm gonna do my knee hugs on this last leg. And go ahead and exhale, reach for those toes or pull that knee to your chest. And go ahead and relax. Awesome. Our last stretch of the day is going to stretch our chest muscles. Going to adjust the camera very slightly real quick. All right, for this stretch, I'm going to hold on to the sides of my chair, scoot to the edge of my chair, roll my shoulders down and back, and as I exhale, I'm going to squeeze them together and look up to the ceiling, puffing my chest out a little bit. If this is too much for you, you don't have to hold on to the side. If you can just do some shoulder blade squeezes where we're puffing our chest out and squeezing our shoulder blades for a moment, and then you can release and do it again. I'm going to hold this stretch for another 10 or so seconds. And as always, we're breathing through these stretches. And relax. Awesome job, you guys. That was our last stretch of the day. And I think we're done 2 minutes early too. Wow, would you look at that?